I'm Zahir, Kelvin Abdullah, and this is Nightline. The top stories. Trump claims Venezuelan President Maduro and wife captured by US forces. And PM stresses that reform demands must involve consultation with unity government's component parties. Good morning. We begin with this story. The United States has captured Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro following a large-scale military operation in the country. U.S. President Donald Trump announced on his Truth Social platform on Saturday that Maduro's wife, Celia Flores, was also captured during the operation and both were flown out of the country. Trump's Attorney General, Pam Bondi, later announced that Maduro and his wife had been indicted in the Southern District of New York. Maduro has been charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, among other charges. It was unclear if his wife is facing the same charges, but Bondi referred to the couple as alleged international narco traffickers. The Trump administration has accused Maduro of heading an international drug cartel and said the military operation was intended to combat narcotics smuggling. Earlier, Venezuela's government accused the U.S. of attacking both civilian and military sites across multiple states, rejecting what it described as Washington's military aggression. In the early hours of Saturday, explosions shook the city of Caracas, prompting Maduro's government to declare a national emergency and mobilize troops. Plumes of smoke were also seen rising over the Venezuelan capital following the attack. The strikes also took place in the states of Miranda, Aragua, and La Guaira. Venezuela accused the U.S. of carrying out the assault in an attempt to seize the country's oil and mineral resources. Tensions have been rising in recent weeks in Venezuela after Trump threatened to launch attacks on targets allegedly linked to drug trafficking. Now, global leaders responded swiftly following Trump's confirmation of military strikes in Venezuela and the reported capture of Maduro and his wife. Colombian President Gustavo Petro said his country upholds peace, respect for international law, and the protection of life and human dignity while rejecting aggression against the sovereignty of Venezuela and Latin America. Petro later announced the deployment of military forces to the Venezuelan border. Meanwhile, Chilean President Gabriel Boric Font expressed his government's concern and condemnation of the U.S. military actions in Venezuela. Spain's Foreign Affairs Ministry called for de-escalation, restraint and respect for international law in Venezuela and offered to serve as a mediator to help achieve a peaceful resolution. Back home, Wisma Putra confirmed there are no reports of Malaysians being caught up in the security incidents in the Venezuelan capital. In a statement on Saturday, the Foreign Ministry said it is closely monitoring the ongoing situation in Caracas. The ministry also said it is actively obtaining the latest information and will provide further updates if warranted. It added that the safety and welfare of Malaysians remain a top priority. Now for more on the US-Venezuela conflict, we are joined by geostrategist Azmi Hassan. So Azmi, what is Trump trying to achieve by claiming that the US has captured the Venezuelan president?
Well, no doubt the end game of Mr. Trump is regime change. Mr. Trump wants a regime, a government of Venezuela that are more friendlier towards the United States. And the pretext of Mr. Maduro is involved in drug trafficking. Again, it's just a pretext to make an excuse for a regime change. I think that's the reason why Mr. Maduro and his wife was brought out of the country, most probably towards the United States. We have no idea. But again, the end game is basically Mr. Trump want a new leader for Venezuela.
Azmi, looking ahead, what can we expect next, either from the US or from Venezuela, following this escalation?
Well, on the Venezuelan side, I think the network of Mr. Maduro is still there. The military is still there. And most probably, I think they are trying to set up where the Vice President Rodriguez will take over from Mr. Maduro with the support of the military. The military is still intact in this particular case. But on the other state side, most probably they want the main opposition leader, Maria Machado, to take over. But after 6-7 hours, when the first strike was launched by Mr. Trump, Ms. Machado is still haven't given out any statement. We have no idea where is her whereabouts right now, most probably out of Venezuela. But again, I think these two particular objectives will be implemented as soon as possible by both the Venezuelan side and also by the United States sides.
Azmi, going beyond Venezuela, what could this mean for stability and geopolitics across the wider region?
I would speculate that the next impact on that particular region is a little bit far away, not the American Latin nation, but in Cuba. Because Mr. Maduro, Venezuela is a big supporter of the Cuban regime, the current leadership of Cuba. And I think within Mr. Trump administration, the State Secretary, Marco Rubio, want, I think, a regime change in Cuba. So Venezuela is just a stepping step so that without any help from Venezuela, I think it is much easier to take down or to change the leadership of Cuba, which is basically very, very near to United States. I think the future impact after Venezuela will be not Iran in this case, I don't think it's Iran, but Cuba.
Thank you, Azmi. Now moving on, Malaysia's tourism industry continues to grow steadily, driven by the nation's peace, unity and rich multicultural heritage. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim emphasized that the success of the tourism sector is founded on the harmony shared by Malaysians of all backgrounds.
Ia berjaya kerana semua kaum seperti yang kita lihat di sini, ya, dari semua negeri. Dan lalu kita lihat tadi kebudaya kita, seni kita dari Perlis sampai Sabah, Sarawak, semua kaum, kerana kita bangga dan ini mesti kita pertahankan. We are proud Malaysians. When I say Malaysians, I'm referring to the Malays, the Chinese, the Indians, the Sarawakians, the Sabahans. We are a great nation.
Anwar said this in his speech at the opening ceremony of the I Light You urban lighting project on Saturday, which aims to boost tourism by enhancing Kuala Lumpur's nighttime landscape for the Visit Malaysia Year 2026 campaign. The event was also attended by Oscar-winning actress Tan Sri Michelle Yeoh. The government aims to expand the I Light You model to other major cities such as Ipoh, Georgetown, Malacca and Johor Bahru to create urban environments that are more friendly, safe and internationally competitive. Earlier, the Prime Minister said any effort to implement changes or reforms must involve consultation with the leadership of the coalition parties within the unity government. Anwar stressed that the reforms being pursued aim to build a system that is fairer and more integrity-driven rather than merely replacing individuals in national leadership. Speaking during the 2026 National Reformist Family Day and gathering in Rawang, Selangor on Saturday, Anwar said the government has a responsibility to implement the reform agenda as swiftly as possible based on the mandate given by the people.
Perjuangan itu menuntut perubahan. Sistem bukan orang. Perdana Menteri, Menteri silih berganti. Itu orangnya. Tetapi yang kita tuntut itu sistem supaya lebih adil.
Anwar added that the government maintains a firm stance against corruption, mismanagement and arrogance in public administration. He also reminded leaders to exercise their power responsibly when entrusted with the people's mandate and not to act hypocritically should they lose that power in the future. The government has yet to receive any response or feedback from online platform operators including Meta, ByteDance and Telegram following the enforcement of the Online Safety Act 2025 or ONSA. However, Communications Minister Datuk Fahmi Fadzil expects that feedback will be received soon, allowing the digital regulatory process to begin. ONSA, which came into effect on Thursday, establishes a legal framework to strengthen online safety. The Act also enhances protections for users, particularly children and families.
Kita jangkakan dalam masa terdekat, terutama proses sandbox untuk KYC itu akan bermula dan sekarang sebenarnya adalah proses untuk mengeluarkan instrumen-instrumen bagi memaklumkan kepada platform-platform bahawa ONSA adalah terpakai kepada mereka. So itu prosesnya sekarang.
The Act outlines the responsibilities and obligations of licensed digital service providers in addressing online harms. This includes implementing risk-based safety measures, providing specific protections for children, and establishing mechanisms for user reporting and support. The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, MCMC, has launched an investigation into users of the X app suspected of misusing artificial intelligence AI tools on the platform. In a statement on Saturday, MCMC said it takes public complaints seriously regarding the use of AI to manipulate images of women and children by digitally removing their clothing from photos to produce obscene, repulsive or harmful content. The creation or distribution of harmful content constitutes an offence under the Communications and Multimedia Act. The statement added, although X is not currently a licensed service provider, the platform is still required to comply with online safety standards in Malaysia. The platform is also responsible for preventing the dissemination of harmful content. MCMC will also summon representatives from X for questioning in relation to its probe into the online harms occurring on the platform. The police should continue to be empowered under preventive laws such as the Internal Security Act ISA and the Security Offences Special Measures Act 2012 or SOSMA. Deputy Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Ayub Khan Maidin Piche said that this is necessary to enable effective action against the increasingly complex threats posed by extremists and militant groups. In a social media post on Saturday, Ayub emphasized that security concerns and the capabilities of extremist and militant groups or individuals must not be taken lightly, as they have the potential to threaten public order and national sovereignty. Ayub cited the 2002 Bali bombing, which killed 202 people and injured more than 200 others, as evidence that the threat is real and serious. He explained that the attack was meticulously planned months in advance, involving the movement of operatives through Thailand and Malaysia before it was carried out in Indonesia. Ayub revealed that Malaysia was not merely a transit point, as key Jamaah Islamiyah figures had entered the country to procure logistics, assemble explosive devices and coordinate funding ahead of the attack. He added that sustained operations by the police special branch since December 2001 ultimately thwarted a planned bombing at the Malaysia-Singapore Causeway. Ayub also dismissed allegations by critics that the police were acting under Western influence or undermining Islam. Doctors who have lawfully submitted their annual practicing certificate renewal applications may continue to practice without any repercussions until their APCs are issued, provided they are not subject to any legal restrictions. This applies to those who submitted their applications, made the required payments, and complied with all stipulated conditions on or before December 31st last year. The Malaysian Medical Council MMC said in a statement on Saturday that APCs for applications completed by December 31st in accordance with the relevant procedures will take effect from January 1st, even if the certificates are issued at a later date. The MMC also apologized for the delay due to the sharp rise in applications received at the end of the year, particularly for applications submitted with supporting documents that were received late. It added that steps are being taken to ensure the issue does not recur in the future. It was reported that more than 14,000 doctors are currently practicing without valid APCs, as the MMC has yet to approve their renewal applications. Without a valid APC, medical practitioners are not permitted to provide medical services. Over 10,000 students in the Titi Wangsa parliamentary constituency have received school supplies and cash assistance for the 2026 academic session. The annual back-to-school program organized by Yayasan Bena Nusa aims to help students from underprivileged families to prepare for the upcoming school term. Titi Wangsa Member of Parliament Datuk Sri Johari Abdul Ghani presented the aid to recipients to ease the financial burdens of families in need and members of the B40 group, as well as to motivate the students during the program on Saturday.
Ini saya bagi dalam kawasan Parlimen Titi Wangsa yang duduk dalam kawasan ni. Saya bagi jam beg sekolah dengan duit sikit untuk nak jumpa parent kat sini, kerana saya selalu tekankan betapa pentingnya pendidikan dalam keluarga. Tak kira kat mana kita, sama ada T20, M40 ke B40 ke, bawah pada B40, yang paling penting kalau kita nak keluar daripada kepompong kemiskinan ini, dalam keluarga kita mesti tekankan pendidikan.
The aid was distributed at two venues in the Titi Wangsa constituency, namely Sekolah Kebangsaan Datuk Kramat and Dewan Yayasan Bena Nusa. Following a recent durian glut, the Federal Agriculture Marketing Authority FAMA said price pressure is currently affecting Grade C durians, while Grade A durians have remained stable. As a result, growers with excess supply are urged to sell their produce directly to the agency to help stabilize the market. FAMA Chairman Aminuddin Zulkifli said the glut is driven by higher production, including output from younger orchards under 10 years old. He noted that while demand for durians remains strong, prices for lower grade fruit have been slightly affected. Aminuddin also stressed that durians are highly perishable and require efficient supply management to maintain market stability. To address the surplus, FAMA is ready to purchase excess durians for processing into value-added products such as durian paste and tempoyak. Recent reports that premium varieties such as Musang King, IOI and Blackthorn are now selling for as low as 10 ringgit per kilogram following simultaneous peak harvests in Pahang and Johor. Nilai blast, revenge against ex-lover, identified as a motive. This and more after this breather.
Dia bawa memory, dia macam walk down memory lane lah.
It's a fresh look. Dia mengimbau kembalilah romantic fantasy tu. Ini antara cinta antara dua dunia. Korang kena saksikan. Sekarang saya cerita lebih. Spoiler.
Kalau nak release stress, tension apa semua bagai dan sambut New Year dengan hati yang ceria dan gembira, korang kena tengok filem Duyung Legenda Aurora.
Ini adalah suatu filem sangat menghibur and entertaining.
Support filem tempatan.
Mana kau tahu? Kau jangan main fitnah je, Man. Kan esok lusa kau yang kena berangkat dengan dia minta maaf.
Dia bukan milik kau, Bora. Dia terpaksa. Kau memaksa.
Awak pernah dengar nama Zakwan tak? Dia dulu pelakon popular. Orang kenal dia sebagai Zahir.
Tolong bawa dia ke sini. Awak kena hati-hati. Ada yang cuba menjatuh awak menggunakan Maria. Awak tak perlu risau. Awak sentiasa dilindungi.
Kalau aku dapat kau, mati kau!
Aku bagi amaran pada kau. Jangan cabar kerja aku.
Kenapa kacau orang? Aku dah pesan jangan cari masalah dengan orang. Ingat, Bora. Kau tetap perempuan yang lemah. Kau tak boleh menentang aku.
Aku tak akan duduk diam. Aku akan tuntut hak aku kembali.
Dalang di sebalik rumah lalu.
Darah bang. Siapa darah bang?
Kereta mewah jadi tempat sorok dadah.
Ini Kelvin. Topang, dia masuk topang. Kita akan checking semula ni. Kita akan bawa ke titik balik ni.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tudut.
Welcome back to Nightline. Police believe revenge is the motive behind the explosion involving an improvised explosive device IED in Nilai, Negeri Sembilan on December 22nd. Preliminary investigations found that the 62-year-old suspect had allegedly targeted his ex-girlfriend from whom he had separated about 5 years ago. District Police Chief Superintendent Zahir said the suspect admitted to making the explosive out of deep resentment towards his former lover. In the December 22nd incident, an explosion occurred inside a car while the suspect was reportedly moving the device. He then fled the scene and was later found in a weakened condition with burn injuries in a forested area near Batang Benar, Nilai on December 27. The suspect's arrest also led to the discovery of a motorcycle and several other IEDs in his possession. Police have obtained an extension of the suspect's remand, which will run until January 10th. In the capital, police uncovered an illegal mini casino operating out of a house along Jalan Sentul Pasar following a targeted raid early Friday morning. The 12:30 a.m. operation, codenamed Op Dadu, led to the arrest of 5 individuals believed to be involved in organizing and participating in a poker-style gambling operation. The Kuala Lumpur Criminal Investigation Department said the suspects comprise 4 local men and 1 Canadian national aged between 23 and 42. One suspect is believed to be both the organizer and a player residing at the premises, while the rest are believed to be players. Police also seized several items used during the gambling activities, including gambling chips, playing cards, and a poker tabletop. All suspects have been remanded. The case is being investigated under the Common Gaming Houses Act and the Immigration Act. A house, a workshop and 14 vehicles were destroyed in 2 separate fires in Sabah on Saturday. The blazes, which occurred in Beaufort and Papa, broke out in the early hours of the morning. The first fire occurred in Kampung Takuli, Beaufort. The inferno ravaged a house, 4 trucks and 6 motorcycles. Beaufort Fire and Rescue Station Chief Ishak Jabas said 9 personnel were deployed to the scene after they were alerted of the fire at 3:56 a.m. The fire was brought under control approximately 40 minutes later. Meanwhile, in Papa, a workshop fire at Kampung Kuala Lorong 12 damaged 8 vehicles, leaving a car and 3 motorcycles completely destroyed. The Papa Fire and Rescue Station said they received an emergency call at 6:03 a.m. before 10 firefighters were rushed to the scene. No fatalities or injuries were reported in either incident. The cause of the fires and the total losses are still under investigation. Sparklers blamed for deadly Swiss bar fire. The details when Nightline returns.
Just berhenti.
Bila air mula naik, jangan tunggu. Selamatkan diri dan keluarga dulu. Barang boleh diganti, nyawa tak.
Peka dengan amaran manja dari sumber rasmi. Patuh dengan arahan pihak berkuasa. Kalau diarahkan pindah, pindahlah segera. Kalau nampak air, jangan redah walaupun nampak cetek.
Sebelum keluar, pastikan semua dokumen disimpan. IC, sijil lahir dan buku akaun. Simpan semua dalam plastik kedap air.
Lepas banjir, jangan masuk rumah terus. Pastikan elektrik diputuskan dan kawasan selamat. Utamakan keselamatan, bukan harta benda.
Peka,
bersedia dan patuh.
Saudi Arabia has welcomed a request from Yemen's Saudi-backed Presidential Leadership Council (PLC) to hold a forum in Riyadh aimed at resolving a deadly factional rift in the country's south, which has fueled armed conflict and heightened tensions among Gulf nations. In a statement on Saturday, the Saudi Foreign Ministry urged southern factions to take part in a comprehensive vision for fair solutions to the southern cause. Early on Saturday, Yemen's Sabah news agency reported that PLC chairman Rashad Al-Alimi appealed to various groups and figures in southern Yemen to come together for a meeting in Riyadh. This comes after a recent offensive by the UAE-backed Southern Transitional Council, STC, which captured large areas in Hadramaut. On Friday, the STC reported that airstrikes by the Saudi-led coalition killed at least 20 people. Initial investigations suggest that sparklers attached to champagne bottles may have ignited the devastating fire that ripped through a Swiss ski resort bar in the Alps town of Crans, Montana on New Year's Eve. Prosecutor Beatrice Pellut said on Friday that all indications point to the fire being caused by burning candles or Bengal lights attached to champagne bottles. She added that the items were placed too close to the ceiling, triggering a rapid and widespread blaze. Pellut said the investigation would also examine whether the bar ceiling met building regulations, including whether foam installed there complied with standards and had proper authorization. 40 people were killed and 119 others wounded in the blaze that broke out at the crowded Le Constellation bar on Thursday. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called on Israel to reverse a pending ban on 37 non-governmental organizations, NGOs working in Gaza and the occupied West Bank. According to spokesperson Stefan Dujarric, in a statement on Friday, Guterres described the group's work as essential for life-saving humanitarian efforts and warned that the suspension could jeopardize the fragile progress achieved during the ceasefire. Israel banned the humanitarian groups for failing to meet new registration rules requiring aid groups working in the occupied territory to provide detailed information on their staff members, funding and operations. It is pledged to enforce the ban starting March 1st. Switching to sports football, the Super League. 2 matches were played on Saturday night with Brunei DPMM FC besting bottom of the league PDRM 3-1, whereas Terengganu FC suffered a shock 2-0 home defeat to Penang FC. 5th place Terengganu hosted bottom half side Penang at the Sultan Mizan Stadium. Their first half was a cagey affair, with the visitors adopting a cautious approach. However, Penang came to life in the second half when Cheche Kipre opened the scoring for the Panthers in the 69th minute. The former Terengganu marksman then compounded the host's misery by adding another goal in the dying moments of the match. The result marked Penang's first away win of the league season and Terengganu's second consecutive home defeat. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at Boston as residents brave the cold during the L Street Brownies annual New Year's Day polar plunge. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin and Abdullah. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend.